Welcome to Old Standard. This is about 1,500 to 1,800 sets of red spruce guitar wood. These piles represent maybe about 1% or less of all the wood that we've cut over the past 20-odd years. This is all perfect wood, as good as it ever has gotten. This is the wood that we'll put in very special order guitars, as like Collings and some other makers will manufacture for us, and then that we'll retail on our website. Well, this stuff here is as good as it ever gets, as good as it's ever been. We'll just pull one out here and take a look at it. There's a bear claw, kind of an open grain, but it has perfect structure, perfect quarter, perfect run. Just beautiful wood. We very carefully select this out as we sell wood all over the world to various luthiers, and this is just a very, very small percentage of it. 1% or less, so that means that we've cut 150,000 sets of red spruce guitar wood. That would amount to more than C.F. Martin cut and used between 1833 and 1946, when they discontinued, or largely discontinued, the use of red spruce in their guitars. So this is just the dandy pile of super high grade that we thought we'd show you. There's a nice piece, fairly even growth. Perfect quartering, perfect run. It's kind of cool to see this stuff. There's another old standard piece. You can see that was probably selected because it was a little harder. It does have some more prominent grain lines in it, which a lot of times means it's stiffer, especially across the grain. Well, folks, there's some old standard wood right there. This is Martin's millionth guitar. I think they made two of them. One of them I know for sure is in the museum because I've been there and I've seen it. Anyways, the spruce top here, this is Brazilian rosewood. It's all been inlaid and decorated up. This plain old piece of spruce right there is red spruce. It came from Old Standard. We even know which log it came from and when it was cut and where it originated. Kind of an open grain, pretty much a perfect piece of wood. Man, it's bright out here. Well, that there is a pile of red spruce. You can see by that short length there, some of it's just a short butt. But we probably had to go through, there's about 10, 12 logs here, winter cut red spruce. We probably had to go through, 3,000 or 4,000 logs to get just this small pile. But most of it, from the way it grew, it has the potential for creating really high-grade wood, whereas the logs that we rejected didn't. And there's all the different factors: color, twist, defects, grain counts, grain evenness. It's kind of hard to see on some of these because they're really covered up with snow, but most of them are very well-centered logs. Usually, in looking at the end grain here and the nature of this check that's in the end of the log, I can tell how it grew through its whole lifetime by just looking at that. A lot of times you get real nice hints of how the tree grew later in life, like where this one here is broken off. Well, that pretty much tells you if there's twist, how much of it there is. Because you can see the grain fibers without having to take the bark off. This is Old Standard's original building. This was built in 1983. 3 levels. It's still packed full of wood, even though we moved into the big building, 10 years ago. It's still full of wood, fiddles, all kinds of old musical instruments, tools. It's becoming sort of a storage barn, but we do have some of our milling that we still do inside this building. Here's our office, or at least all of our record keeping. Once again, it's sort of temporary. Here's our old standard cat. This is Houdini. He's a big fat cat. Keeps down the mice. This was a lot of workbenches where I used to do a lot of work on violins. And there's still some of these critters hanging around here. Now this is more wood that is just stacked up, just in storage. It represents maybe about 5% of what's all over this place here, just piles and piles of wood. Some of this is when we used to cut Sitka. I see some Sitka right there, but most of this is red spruce. A lot of 4-piece flat cuts, mandolin wedges, violin wedges, brace wood, flat mandos. This is a vacuum drying system that we built back in the early 90s. It's mostly used for thicker neck block type of woods to essentially just suck the moisture right out of them and preserve the coloration. This is built out of an old water pipe that I got from Fargo, North Dakota, that they were putting a water line up there, and I scavenged some pipe from them, and we run the air pressure down to almost outer space inside of that, and it will really efficiently age wood. In a very short time you can get wood that is, you couldn't achieve it in 30 years of very careful air drying with no injury to the wood, no cooking, no cracks, warps, or splitting of the wood. There's all kinds of instruments hanging around here. Well, there's one. This is pretty cool. It's a 1934, looks like a shaded top Martin orchestra model. And it's got a really cool decal on it there that somebody put on there at one time. And of course somebody was really interested in how these things were made, so they kind of cut the sides out so they could look in there and see what was going on. We've got quite a collection of these old things that we study to see what they used to do as far as how they produced the wood, you know, how it was cut, you know, what they were doing back years and years ago. Yeah, this is our other milling room, our pre-seasoning room. This is where when it comes out of the tree, this is the first place it goes, and we do some of the initial milling on it right here before we start moving it up and putting it in seasoning, air drying humidities.